Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala barakatuh. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah, in our training towards helping you to understand the true nature of yourself and applying positive Islamic psychology, our book, Positive Islamic Psychology, a transcendent model to achieve peace, happiness and success in the 21st century. The key towards transforming of our behavior is by transforming our habits, and the key to transforming our habits is by transforming our thoughts. So because we are receiving 50 to 70,000 input of thoughts every day, every moment of your life, every day, the moment you're born, the moment as you grow up, especially when you are conscious, you get this input, all right? And they have measured this 50 to 70,000 times a day, and most of those thoughts are negative, all right? And most of the thoughts, 90% of the thoughts are negative, and this is repeated over and over and over again. So when it is repeated over and over again, these thoughts become habits, habits become behavior. So this is the flow, you must understand, in terms of why some people are like that, why they are so toxic, why they are so negative, why they are so evil, why they are doing all the bad things, why they are so revengeful, hateful, all the negative behavior, habits that is built into that person. Or we have the beautiful people who are so caring, loving, so just, so good, so nice, and exude the nur, the light from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there are these two aspects. So because we are being influenced by the negative influences, more than the positive influences, we lack this ability to think positively. All right? So from the perspective of Islam, we know, from the metaphysics of Islam, we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He created the universe, all right, He commanded this universe to be. So the first command that the first thing that He's created is our spirit. It's an amar. Is a command from Allah, is first created, then He created the other aspects of this universe. All right, but in the realm of beyond time and space, that is relative. Again, it is just metaphorical, allegorical. There's no time, no space at that situation. We'll have a long discussion on these aspects of metaphysics, but I'm not going to go into that because it is a different aspect of understanding the nature of things. But just to give you the understanding from the realm of the absolute, that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has His sifa and His zat. So from His sifa, He create all the influences, both positive and negative. So we have the positive influences from the realm which Allah manifested or sent His tawfiq, His hidayah, His love, His grace, His mercy, and so on. So when we in Islam, when we say something, we say we receive hidayah. Hidayah from where? From the realm of the influences. But also there are negative aspects, because Allah created both positive and negative. There is the positive aspect and the negative aspect. So, for example, if from the realm of the angelic, the realm of the angels, it is positive. But from the realm of shaitan, let's call it shaitaniyah, we have the negative aspect of influences. And this chart is in our book. If you go to Islamic psychology model, we have this chart here. You go back to this chart. This chart is an abridgment of the chart that is being developed by Ibn al-Qayyim and Imam Ghazali and all the other early scholars. I put it in a chart form. So what does they say about human self in terms of both the negative and positive influences of the inner speech? So because we operate, that our thoughts operate at the realm of the akal al-kulli, this akal is the akal of the absolute. From the realm of the absolute, and al-kal al-juzi, there is the conscious, subconscious. I will explain this in more detail, but just to give you the realm of influences, we have both the left and the right side. So we have influences from the influences that we get from the realm of, for example, divine revelation. That is positive. That means Rasulullah SAW, he receives what? He receives wahyu. Wahyu come from where? It is through the agency of Jibril. It comes from the realm of the absolute. It comes from the command of Allah. Alright, that's why we get wahyu. Alright, for example, we have divine inspiration. our waliullah, awliyaullah, and common people, they get ilham, or they get the influences from the realm of the divine inspiration. Also from the realm of the knowledge of Allah. This is what called ilmul ladunni. Also from the believer's inner speech, from our internal, because we are connected to Allah, that is called firasah, and the spiritual vision, that is called musyahadah. And then we do contemplation and reflection, that is tafakkur and tazakkur. And then we do meditation, zikrullah and prayer. So all these are the influences, positive influences. Then on the negative side, you have example, influences from our nafs. That means our sense of sight, hearing, smell, touch and taste. So that is our nafsul ammarah. Excessive indulgence in physical and material world. That's again nafsul shaitaniyah or haywaniyah. Alright. Then we have evil suggestions. If we go into that direction, we have greed of the world and greed of the material things. We have excessive appetite. We have excessive sexual drive. We have this evil prompting self. There is nafsul ammara that's growing bigger and bigger. And then we have excessive worry, disorder, waswasa, panic attack, psychological problems. Alright, then both this left and right of the influences will then determine our level of in terms of the manifestation of whether our thoughts, habits, behavior is positive or negative. Alright, this is the flow. I'm just giving you the flow first. And then also we understand from our book, this understanding of the concept of akal al-kulli and akal al-juzi. These are concepts being developed, the metaphysics being developed by our great scholars of Islam, alright, 1000 years ago. So they define al-akal al-juzi, the faculty of reason, conscious mind, and faculty of discursive and analytical thoughts. So now modern psychology, they know, yes, we have the mind. But what is the mind? We have 1000 years ago, Muslim scholars have defined what psychology today is trying to say. This is what we call al-akal al-kulli. Then, from the realm of the absolute, Allah has this, just now I was saying, al-akal al-juzi. From the realm of the absolute, al-akal al-kulli. What is al-akal al-kulli? The subconscious mind and beyond the subconscious mind, the faculty of intuition, higher intellect, and the faculty of awareness of the spiritual and divine reality. So this is where these two things works together. So if we say that we have our mind, our akal, this is the two things. So when we say al-akal kulli, this is from the realm of the absolute. So Allah showers His contact with us through this realm, from the realm of the absolute to the realm of the influences to us, and all these influences are coming from tawfiq, hidayah, grace, love, mercy, and also from the negative side of evil prompting self, thoughts, and so on. So once we know that this is our mind, but what does our mind constitute from the terminology of modern psychology? We have within our mind, or we call it the physical brain. This is all is because the materialist, the atheistic psychology will say we only have our brain and everything is the brain. But Islam has the whole schema of things, and the whole schema of existence is so beautiful, and I hope some of you will be inspired by this video. Learn, because these are the advanced knowledge, intellectual knowledge, the heritage of the ummah that was left behind by our great Imam Al-Ghazali, Al-Juzi, Ibn Al-Qayyim, we have Al-Balsh, and so on, so many of them. Alright, but if I go to the modern science, we have within our brain, they say we have our 3 levels of our brain. We have the neocortex that's in front of us, okay, then we have the limbic system, and then we have the brainstem or the cerebellum. So these 3 respond differently. So this is your thinking brain, this is your reactive or emotional brain, and this is your fight or flight situation. So I will go into detail later on in the other continuous video. But all this, from here you get all the hormones and the neurotransmitters, whether it's cortisol, whether it's adrenaline, whether it is serotonin, whether it is dopamine, and so on. So especially dopamine, all right, which affects addiction. So when we do that, we know that this influences, whether it is the roh, the qalb, the akal, influence our physical body. So this interaction goes up and goes down. This interaction is always up and down. So now we go back to the topic, how to eliminate negative thoughts. If we want to eliminate negative thoughts, then we must then imbue ourselves with the positive influences from the rim of the Ruh. So how does we do that? This is where we have our iman, our Islam, our ihsan, our contact and our ubudiyah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there are many approach to this. Zikrullah and so on, I mentioned to you. Then how do we do our cult? Again, it is linked to the Ruh and the akal. So this is the control system. This is the loci of control in Islamic psychology. Your heart, your cult. This is repeated over and over again. Now science is proving your heart is the interaction that is controlling both the rim of the spirit, which the atheists don't accept, and the rim of your mind. So your mind is being controlled by the cup. So this is the interaction. But actually they are all one. Your Ruh, your cup, your akal, Muslim scholars say their interaction depending on their influences and depending on their dominance. Again, this is again a long story which we can discuss. But when we imbue ourselves with positive Ruh, then we have imbue ourselves with a positive heart, feeling the feeling of love, which Allah tells us in Quran. Allah is the Ghafurul Wadud, most forgiving, most loving. So this is the rim of the qalb, forgiveness and Wadud, love. So we influence our positive heart through ibadah, then we influence our mind and our brain and our akal to think positively. So when we think positively, our positive physical self then will change from negative thoughts to positive thoughts. Then slowly it will go to the next level, from positive thoughts to negative, from negative thought to positive thoughts. Then we do from negative habits to positive habits, and then from negative behavior to positive behavior. But it all begins with the thoughts. Everything starts with this. From the perspective of our brain or our mind, as we say here, but from the Islamic perspective, it's more holistic. So because of that, we have to try to always change our negative thoughts to positive thoughts by trying to do the opposite. Naturally, it will be stressful, but if you are doing it progressively, slowly, you can slowly change. All right. For example, you have negative thoughts. I hate that person. I hate my mother-in-law. I hate my ex-boyfriend. I hate. Semua hate kan? So you just take a deep breath, relax. Then you just say, Alhamdulillah, I forgive them all. So forgiveness is what? Positive thoughts. Hatred is negative thought. Forgiveness is because Allah is a Ghafur, most forgiving. So try to get a little bit of the attribute of Allah. The absolute Ghafur is Allah. The little bit Ghafur is us. So we take a little bit of Ghafur. So we talk about love, we talk about peace, we talk about care, we talk about share, we talk about being just and so on. So all these little things you start. Whenever a negative thoughts come in, you don't try to fight directly, because a direct battle you lose. So what you do, you have negative thought, you breathe in, relax, and then ask Allah, Ya Allah, bless me with a good thought, because the starting point is your thought. So bless me with a good feelings, because we have the FET, feelings, emotion and thought. So bless me with good feelings, and then bless me with a good thought. So the feelings you ask from Allah. So when your FET is changed, slowly you will eliminate these negative thoughts, and then you'll achieve peace, tranquility, happiness, fulfillment, healing, all the beautiful, wonderful things, all the miracles of life that you ever dream of is within your sight. If you can understand this methodology, which I'm trying to explain to you in a way that I learned from the great scholars of Islam. This is not my invention, remember. This is what I understanding all the great scholars of Islam, their metaphysics and their laws of existence and the laws of learning. And it is so beautiful, it's so scientific, it is so fantastic that if we do not understand this, we do not understand Islam in its totality. So inshallah, remember, this is one approach. I'm going to give you many examples from this little understanding. I'm going to repeat a few times until it gets into your thoughts, and then inshallah help you with your habits and change your behavior and my behavior. Remember, we are all on the same journey. Whatever negative behaviors, I also have those things, but I'm trying to downgrade the volume of negative behavior, negative thoughts, negative habits, negative behavior, and up volume positive thoughts, positive habits and positive behavior so that I can manifest myself to be a true and sincere servant of Allah in ubudiyah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and achieving the goal of being His Khalifa on this earth, always striving to make myself and ourselves good, helping others to be good and making the world good, inshallah.